Now, last night we showed you in question time the ridiculous tactic of Linda Burney. Now, Linda Burney is clearly a big problem for the federal government because while she gives a speech in rooms that already agree with her, she'll get a standing ovation. When she does interviews, she never plays an away game. She only ever plays home games on things like Friendly Territory of the ABC or in print publications that already are on her side. But in question time, she's asked the questions that she either doesn't want to answer or can't answer because she doesn't know the detail. Either way, she's not up to it. Now, I pegged her as somebody who was not up to it before she even entered the federal parliament. When she was the Community Services Minister in New South Wales, she was a shocker. One of these days I'll go back through the file and I'll tell you some of the stuff that she stuffed up when she was in the New South Wales Parliament. But identity and a whole bunch of other factional reasons mean she sails to a position now of incredible importance for the most vulnerable amongst us, those being Indigenous Australians. Now, last time Parliament was around, a couple of weeks ago, she got herself in a world of bother and then the voice started to wobble seriously in the polls because she would change her answers from day to day about what it's about, what it's not about. Then she'd reset, then she'd turn around and insult anyone who disagrees with her as being Trumpian or pushing misinformation. Well, the new tactic this week is for her to simply read from a script no matter what the question is, and even if she gets caught not answering a question, just quickly say something and then sit down because they can't call you out for not answering the question. Here was how it played out yesterday.
Does the government still support this commission, and exactly what will it do?
In the words of NRL legend Jonathan Thurston from North Queensland, our young people deserve the chance to be their best. And in the words of Eddie Betts, the Adelaide and Carlton AFL legend, it is about recognising, it's about listening.
Now, we called it out, but of course the philosophy of the Labor Party is it doesn't matter what gets said at this time of night on this TV channel, it's just the crazy hour. Apart from we are the only ones that actually hold up the receipts of the promises that were made versus the reality of what has now turned up. That these are just politicians. They aren't special people who can walk on water, and they're not people who are truly invested in changing anyone's life. They are about as much power as possible, just like every other average politician. There is nothing special about this mob. But when it comes to Linda Burney, again, they did exactly the same thing today, hoping that the majority of the media would again fall in because you don't want to be impolite to Miss Burney, you don't want to be accused of being racist for calling out her obvious rhetorical failures when it comes to the parliament. But I'm sorry, this person is a minister of the Crown. This person is a person who has absolute responsibility, but instead her idea is just to get more people to give her advice. Here was a question asked again today by the Deputy Liberal Leader, Susan Ley.
My question is to the Minister for Indigenous Australians. Last month, the Minister said, and I quote, "The Makarrata Commission would have two jobs. First, the national process of truth-telling and national agreement-making, which is really code for treaty, without saying it." End quote. Would the Minister explain this statement to the House?
Now, the joy of what I get to do for you every night is I play all the question so then you can see how the answer was an absolute fob. Here she is, singing off the song sheet, not answering the question again.
The word Makarrata is a word from the language of the Yolngu people from Arnhem Land. It means coming together after a struggle, facing the facts of wrongs, living together in peace. And that word was gifted to the Uluru Statement from the late Yunupingu, the great Gumatj leader from North East Ireland. This weekend at Gama, we will gather again and we will remember his legacy and all that he did for his people over so many years. And more than anything, he wanted to see constitutional recognition through a voice made a reality. Later this year, we have the chance to do that. Recognition, listening and better results.
You see, what they're playing on here is, as you can feel, the awkward silence. The awkward silence of an Indigenous woman speaking about an Indigenous man who has now passed, invoking some of the more emotive parts of the current debate in and around what will be happening with the Constitution. But again, I'm not pretending that there is some sort of a new scandal here that the Federal Labor Party wants to work its way towards a treaty. We know that's their policy. It's the fact that they are pretending that's not their policy that's what's worth talking about tonight. You can start to see a trend here, can't you? That remember when Katie Gallagher was caught lying to the Senate? She suddenly started invoking all victims of sexual assault, and that was the reason why nobody could keep asking her questions. We've seen when accountability was being called for about the bullying of the late Senator Kimberley Kitching. Again, this was all grossly inappropriate and give us time to mourn, so the subject will quickly change. So this is the hope about Linda Burney, is that if she reads off an emotive script, no matter what the question is, the Parliament will go silent because nobody wants to be caught out yelling over an important issue like this. But you watch this space. In the next couple of days, the words racist will start to be used about people who are putting a minister under pressure. This is what happens to every minister, regardless of whether they're male, female, regardless of whether they're Indigenous, non-Indigenous, whether they are Labor or Liberal. This is the cauldron that is our federal parliament. And of the very few opportunities a government has to be confronted, question time is an important opportunity for that. Now, the game is always rigged in favour of the government because they, of course, pick who the Speaker is. The Speaker will essentially let them get away with blue murder by not answering questions and doing everything they can to deny the opposition questions. But that's why the opposition has been particularly smart in the questions that they are asking Linda Burney. They are straight, they are direct, there is no secret squirrel inside the questions. But Linda Burney continues not to answer. Here's Michelle Landry.
My question is to the Minister for Indigenous Australians. On the 15th of November 2021, the now Prime Minister said, quote, "The Makarrata Commission will be independent and have responsibility for truth-telling and treaty making. It will work with a voice to Parliament when it is established. When will Australians know the details about the government's Makarrata Commission?"
Couldn't be clearer, couldn't be tighter. Guess what? Again, no answer.
The government of this country supports the Uluru Statement from the heart. And the Uluru Statement has three elements. The first request is for a voice to Parliament, which is what the referendum will be about this year. It then refers to a Makarrata for truth-telling and agreement-making. Progress on Makarrata will not occur until after the referendum. Our priority is constitutional recognition through a voice. Our priority is recognition, listening and getting better results. The 2023 referendum is an opportunity to advance reconciliation and move Australia forward for everyone.
Yeah, but you can see the tactic, which is to try to go to the emotive script which silences everyone, and anyone who has a go at her, well, that's the beginning of the case of racist. This is a play that I've now shown you is happening multiple times when it comes to this minister, who either can't answer a question or won't answer a question, a point that Peter Dutton made when he took to his feet.
On 97 occasions, the Prime Minister gave false hope to struggling Australian families and small businesses by promising before the election he would cut power bills by $275 annually, and now he pretends that he never said it. On 34 occasions, the Prime Minister told Australians he was committed to implementing the Uluru Statement in full, which includes a treaty. When will we hear a straight word from this Prime Minister?
A slam dunk. An obvious scenario here where Albo won't answer or can't answer. If he can't answer, that's frightening. If he won't answer, well, that, in my view, is equally frightening.